Hey, Kevon. Hi. We'll wait for a couple of people to join in and then we'll start.
All right. Thanks for having me here, Arunima. I think this is the first time I'm using this setup to speak online because I just recently moved around my office.
Oh, yeah. I heard you had those broccoli images at the back. I miss broccoli.
Yeah, I was upstairs the whole most of the time the last few years, but I feel a little sad facing the window. So now I'm facing the wall. Now I'm facing the window. So I feel more energized doing this. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So let's, I think let's start. Hey everyone, hi. I'm excited to introduce Kevon, a true built in public guy on Twitter, and someone I'm really proud to have known for the past 3 years. Kevon created a game changing guide on built in public that not only ranked on Google and Hacker News but now has been read over 40 by over 40,000 people. On top of that, he's also built a thriving community and he's also written a book called Find Joy in Chaos, which is one of my favorite books on how to grow online. And it has also sold hundreds of copies. It is a really heartwarming book. I love it. So now Kivon is also taking things to the next level by launching a school for creator educators, and he'll be teaching us about building with community today. So let's all give a warm welcome to Kivon, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Arunima. First of all, I just want to make sure I know how to use Riverside. I am trying to find out how I can see what you guys are typing in. I don't even know how many people are here. So let me see how. Oh, okay. I see Alan saying looks good. All right. Let me share my screen then, if we are ready for it. Cool. All right. Yeah, today we are here because I'm going to talk about a really important topic, building in public with your community. So when people think about building with your community, they usually think, oh, is it a private community? Is it like a forum? But no, we're talking about building it in public. So, and the end goal is to get traction because otherwise, why are you doing that, right? But as I said, I don't know how many people are here. So if you're here, give me a high five or hi or hey or hello so that I know how many people are here. All right. I see a few like Alan, Tim, Colin, Deba, Marcos. All right. Come on, bring it in. Some more highs. Okay. As you guys are doing that, um, every time before I speak, I just like to warm up myself a little bit. So if I cannot see you guys, but if you feel like, oh, is this going to be a boring lecture? Is this going to be so dry that I'm going to fall asleep? Well, it's time to wake ourselves up a little bit. So join me to loosen up yourself a little bit. All right. Yeah. Cool. I want to feel the energy from the chat. Okay. Let's dive right in. First of all, I just want to put it out there some of the things that I've seen in the last few years. So I've been talking about this topic for a few years now. And sometime around 2023, as you can see on the screen, I started seeing people say that, well, building in public is a trap, it's useless, and all that. And don't get me wrong, this guy on the screen right now is Josh Spector. I actually admire him a lot. He's a very good marketer, so you can check him out, Josh Spector. But this article on his website hurt my heart a little bit when I first saw it. And the title is Built in Public is a Trap. And of course, it goes on to saying how it does more harm than good for, as you can see on the screen, most entrepreneurs. So today we're going to find out like why do people say that? Why is it a trap? Is it a trap for everyone or is it a trap for some people? And then In 2024, that doesn't stop. I also see other marketers like Dan here talking about how building in public is a distraction. You should build in front of your customer. You don't want to build in public. Like, what is in public, honestly? And he says this is a distraction. And then combined with the same thing that I keep hearing from the last few years, like, why would you build in public? Why would you give away your secret sauce so that people can copy your idea and then do it faster and do it better than you? So these are put in the chat yes if you also have the same question, like what's the benefit of this? Like, why do this? Put a yes so that I can see how many people resonate with this thinking. And you're not alone. Yeah, I can tell you, you're not alone. And we're going to tackle this. We're going to debug this myth that we're seeing. All right. So the agenda today, I cannot see you guys, so I'll try my best to like make it as fun as possible. I want to kind of introduce myself. Of course, not going to spend a ton of time, but I think if you're giving me an hour to listen to me, it would be nice to hear some context about who is this guy, so then you can kind of draw a better relevance. And then second of all, we dive right into the myth of building in public. We talked already a bit about that. And then we will talk about like the correct way of doing it. And then this is new. This is something that I've never talked to anyone about. It's because over the years, I do see people who are like excellent in building in public with their community. And it's just nice to get case studies. And last month, I saw someone doing it so well. He made 2000K USD in 4 days. And because it's so recent, so I thought, oh, it would be nice to show you guys and kind of walk you through how he does it. Because then you will not think that this is just a theory, but it's actually practical. Yeah? Are you guys excited about it? Okay, and then we'll talk about how you can start today. And the Hype Fairy team and I actually partner up and we designed something special for you guys so that you learn the stuff today and what can you do with that. So we designed something special for you. And if you want that, stay until the end so that we can share that. Okay, here's the quick slide about me. Let's look at the picture, right? On the top left, you see my family. I have a young family, my wife, Lydia. I have 2 daughters, Avery and Audrey. They're very young, 2 and 4 years old. And honestly, we're just a simple family, prioritizing happiness, curiosity, just enjoying the bonding within ourselves and with other people as well. So very simple. That's our philosophy. But over the years, I also have taught a lot of live classes. You can see at the picture on the top. And then I wrote a book about building your online presence. Arunima talked about it, Find Joy in Chaos. So yeah, really honored to be here to share my story. But really, it all started in the end of 2020. It's funny because when I talk about 2020, it doesn't feel like that long ago, because that was like COVID time, right? But it's actually a really long time ago. That is a bit scary. But anyway, I started writing because I was waiting for my first daughter to be born. I was having a career transition, like a break. And then I was just looking for things to do. And then I started writing online. And after like 8 weeks, I knew that I couldn't write about random things here and there. I knew that if I want to have some kind of success, I need to like kind of coin a term and be the go-to person. And it just happened that I was doing some research and keeping my eyes open, and I saw Build in Public. And I was like, wow, a lot of people want to do this, but how come no one is really like structuring the actual methodology and then guiding people through step by step? Maybe I can be that person. It was a hypothesis, but then I just decided to take action on it. So I write the guide in public over 2 months with the community, and it went semi-viral. So very thankful. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys. And then, it just kind of opened up a path for me. But lastly, I think the best part about building in public, we're gonna be very practical, going into like business strategies later on. But I think the personal brand part is very cool as well. Like the last few weeks, I've been talking to people, and then they have been asking me like, Kavan, you are very into education and learning. Like, let's talk about like where the world is going with all this AI. So without the personal branding from the last few years, because I was a nobody in 2020, I wouldn't have these conversations. So this is the really cool part. And speaking of personal brand, this is someone I really admire, the founder of ConvertKit, now Kit, the email marketing software. And you can see the dates, right? He keeps talking about how personal branding is becoming more and more important. So I think if you want to, you know, have a long-term view about something, building in public is one strategy, not the only strategy, but just one strategy in your, you know, in your arsenal of skills that can get you there. Okay, let's go. Gorgeous family. Thank you, Colin. Thank you. All right, let's dive into talking about what building in public is. I want to get a show of hands from 1 to 5. 1 being I have no idea what this is, to 10 being I have a really good understanding about building in public with the community. Give me a number so that I can kind of gauge where we are heading. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. So pretty good understanding, I would say. All right. So what I want to do is, as I'm talking about this, maybe you'll be like getting some inspiration along the way or questions you want me to clarify. Type it in right away. I think it's better than me just like going through my slides. Like if it's something relevant to what I'm talking about, I want to answer it right away. But of course, we'll have time at the end as well. How about that? Okay. What is building in public? I think 95%, well, of course, I made up that number. What I'm trying to say is the majority of people that I've encountered has the understanding of building in public as in like, okay, you're just working in the open kitchen. And of course, it's open, right? So your customer, everyone can see what's happening in there. So what you're making, what you're brewing, they can see it. And it's mostly about like being open, being vulnerable, and sharing ups and downs and the behind the scenes, like an open garage, right? But I like the open kitchen one because, you know, eating more fun. This is kind of the general definition of building in public, and I think that's why like marketers like Josh and Dan, they would say like it's a trap, because like why are you being open? Why are you being vulnerable? What is it for? If you don't know what it's for, then yeah, it's a trap. But it's really not that. Like at first I thought that's it. Yeah, being open. But of course, I've been trying to dive into this concept and I've been teaching it, and my own framework changed over time. So what I'm sharing with you here is my version of building in public, which is, I think, the right way to go, to be honest. Otherwise, I wouldn't be teaching this. And this is why, like, people say this is a trap, this is naive, this is useless. It's because they have a different definition of building in public. That's okay. So let's try to learn and be the top 5% to really understand what this is about. All right. At the end of the day, if you just remember one thing from today, I hope it's this. It's the SIB framework, SIB. It's about showing, involving, and building. So this is important because I think showing and building, that's obvious. I think the biggest takeaway here is a lot of people forget to involve. And how do you involve? We'll check it out. And also the second thing is you don't build first. I think even for me, right, I make this mistake of like, oh, I want to do something. Let me build it first, and then I'll show it to people when it's ready. We're drawn to this because we're afraid. But the better way is really to show it first, and then you have enough validation, and then you build it. That's why if you ask me how we should start this, it will be showing, involving, and building. Building is the last thing. And then you just keep going in cycle, because as you build, you have more things to show and you have more things to involve people for, right? So yeah, just want to introduce the concept, but you get more and more into this. And now that I give you this SIP framework, let's let's give you a very interesting concept that you can like draw relevance to, and it's about food as well because of Open Kitchen, right? So here I have a video. I don't think you can hear the sound, but let's see. I think I need to share my other screen here. I need to share this, right? Because I'm going to YouTube. But anyway, let's watch it even without sound. And I want you to pay attention to like what is going on here. The best part is coming. Here, this is the best part. All right. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but basically the creator is saying like, this chef is creating an amazing experience for us, 19 course omakase. All right. You cannot hear the sound. Okay. But I knew that would happen. But at least you can see the image, right? All right. Now I want to ask like, how many of you actually know this term omakase before I show you this video? Are you guys aware of this term at all? Put a yes. Okay, some yes, some no. Okay, it really depends if you like Japanese food or not. So let me explain a little bit what omakase is like. Usually, go to a Japanese restaurant. You sit like for this kind of omakase experience. It's not just open kitchen. It's like you sit at the bar table and the sushi chef, like just like that sushi chef in the YouTube shorts, stand right in front of you. And then you don't need to pick any menu or whatever. It's just one fixed price. And omakase means the chef decides what you eat. And they're gonna feed you well. They're generous. And they make one piece of sushi or whatever dish that is and just put it in front of you like one by one. So the experience can last for like maybe 2 hours. As we saw that it's like a 19 course dinner, so it takes maybe 3 hours or something. That's omakase. So it's a really amazing experience, way better than open kitchen. But this is an experience, right? So the chef actually talks to you, as you can see in the video. Sometimes we don't see this in the video, but sometimes the chef like goes crazy and they're like, "Hey, come over. Like for this next dish, come help me out. Like put this on top or use this thing to like grill the piece of fish or something." That's involving, right? And then what this chef is essentially doing is creating an experience for you. So you would go back. You would enjoy it so much and you would go back. It's a memory. And I think this is the best way to explain building in public, in my definition. It's because it's not just sharing updates. A lot of people think it's just sharing updates like, oh, I did this today. Oh, I'm going to do this today. That's building in public. No, it's not. So let's break down this omakase experience and relate that to something practical. I don't know how many of you are working on like a SaaS product or like a business, or maybe you're working on knowledge products like information, like courses or books. I'm definitely more the course and books person because I love education. But I think, yeah, the concept is quite universal. It's just about how you like look at it, right? So now I want to kind of talk about this omakase experience by drawing it to like 3 common failures that we have in marketing, in business. Number 1, a big failure would be you only find out what you're building, whether it's working or not, after launching it, after putting it in public. That would be a very sad thing, right? A waste of time. So think about it in the omakase experience. How does the chef solve it? All right, so this is what the chef would do. Like imagine, close your eyes. Imagine you're sitting at the sushi bar and then you're enjoying your maybe like fifth piece of sushi and the chef asks you, "Hey, do you like this tuna? Um, it's my latest creation. Like this is the third time I'm making it this way. Tell me whether you like it or not." So you see, there's a conversation going on between the chef and you, and no matter what you say, that's product development for the chef. It's like you don't need to think too much. You just kind of try it out, experiment, and then you get instant feedback. So if we kind of draw it back to like business terms, right? Product development, a lot of people would do surveys. A lot of people would do one-on-one chats, user interview, and all that. That's just way too slow. If you are able to build in public in front of the right people and you're just throwing out this one like easy question, ask them questions, and you are able to get some raw insights back from them, that would be pretty amazing. That's like instant product development kind of thing. So the key here is you get feedback right away, just like this chef. So building public can allow you to do that. One example from many years ago, I like to use this because it's like a fantastic example. Steph Smith. One day she was like, I really want to write a new book about content because I know how to do it. But of course, she tested the market by just saying, I have this outline lying around on my Notion, blah, blah, blah. Would you pay $10 for it? And people would comment, yes, no, blah, blah, blah. Oh, only if you include this. So instantly you get validation, right? Of course, now you may be thinking, oh, it depends whether you have an audience or not. But we're going to tackle that in a bit. But exactly, that's product development. So if you start building around your community, even if there are just like 10 people around you, and you're being open and having conversations publicly, they will tell you how to build profitable products. You just need to listen to that. So yeah, you don't have to do one-on-one chats anymore. Well, they're still important, but I mean, there's a scalable way to do it now. All right, let's move to failure 2. I still don't see any questions, so I'm assuming that you guys are doing quite well. All right, feel free to pop up some questions, by the way. Okay, failure, keep it up, Ben. Failure number 2, creating buzz for the launch. This is so hard. You know, a lot of us like try to do product hunt. We try to figure out so many ways just because we want that buzz, like the line outside a piece of shop. It's just so hard. So how can the chef at the omakase dinner make it work? Again, close your eyes and imagine you're in front of this sushi chef, and the chef is like, hey, by the way, we won a bid for a huge tuna from all the way from Japan. It's arriving next week. Would you want to come try? Imagine what you would say in that experience. Like you are already at the restaurant, so you're like a warm lead, and this chef is just like mentioning that they have something coming up, and you just say yes or no. It's fine to say no as well. So this is like, to me, this is marketing, like amazing marketing too, because you already warmed them up through the dinner, and you just need to mention like what you have. Like they buy it or they don't, it doesn't matter. You don't want to be so aggressive anyway. But the best part is like, if you can add a bit of urgency to it. For example, you can say, we have a huge tuna from Japan next week. We have 2 seats left. Would you want to get it? Would you want me to reserve it for you? So that becomes a bit of like sales strategy. Like you're adding some urgency. So people would immediately say, oh yeah, sure. Thanks for letting me know, like book me in, something like that. So this is what building in public can do for your marketing. because you are already getting the attention of your community through the product development phase. When something is ready, right? Like for example, when your beta round is ready, I think Gita is talking about working on a membership. So you're like, oh, the membership is semi-ready, but I really want to bring in the first batch first. Then you can like soft mention it, and then people are already warmed up to it. They will be like, oh, I can help out, something like that. I see a lot of questions, so maybe I can let's finish this part and then we can go to the question. All right, that might be more structure and clean. So what I want to say here is you don't need to sell when you're in this like community strategy mode. You just mention and they buy, and that's it. Okay, let's wrap this up with failure number 3, which is I think the hardest part to execute these days. Like we all understand most launches is a community effort. Like I've been seeing a lot of running brands in my town lately. Like so many people are running the last few years. And when they launch something, they need the influencers or friends to shout out. I think same for all kinds of products. We need that. But how can building in public help us unlock that part? So in the last few years, I was quite lucky to have a few, I wouldn't say like crazy big launches, but in my own standard, I think they're quite good, like quite buzzing in my scale, because I was just starting out in 2020. And all I would say is that it comes from just building in public and being around the community and listening to them. So how did that work for the Omakase chef? I didn't tell you that some chefs go crazy. Like they 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 would drink with the customer. I guess they're just having fun as well. So they would like cheers, and that's a community strategy. They're socializing with you. They're becoming your buddies. They're just they're not just cooking you the food, but they're part of the experience as well. So yeah, when you're part of the community, when you're leading a community strategy, then people are more invested in whatever you're building. That is something that is really hard to teach people. You will feel it once you start showing up that way, and people give you like small feedback or small responses. Then you feel like, oh, this is the community strategy. And I did that. When I wrote my book, I was like, oh, I want to create like a more expensive tier, because the book is like 10 US dollar. So I want to create something that's $30. So I decided to add in some videos, but I didn't know what videos to include. So I'm like drafting out the 8 topics, and then I threw it out there. I was like, I need your help. Which one is hot? Which one is not that great? So all these people, I think maybe like 20 people replied, and then I used a Google Excel sheet to kind of count the votes, and then I got rid of the worst 3. So it's kind of like product development, right? But I'm also like asking them to come and hang out and build this with me. So all these connections that you build over time makes it so easy when you're launching something and you're asking people to help you. That's how people have buzzing launch. It's not really about like how amazing the product is. It's really about how much work they do before the launch to gear up their friends around them. All right. So let's do the quick recap, and then I'll look at the chat and see what we can discuss over there. So a quick recap here is, well, talk about your product before you build it. Even when you're just like wondering things or ideation stage, it's less likely that people will copy you, because it's about execution, right? So, but you talk about it, you draw people in, because if you're just like showing things up, people have no reason to kind of react to it. Involve the community. I think I mentioned that a few times. And then just soft mention. You don't need to pitch. You don't need to write like a whole sales page to pitch. If what you built is valuable, you just need like 2 lines with people like being warmed up over time, and they're in. That's it. All right, let's see. All right, this is a good slide to leave up as we are reading the chat. Wow, so many questions. Let's start with Gita. I would love to know how to resolve the tension between positioning yourself as an expert and an explorer. All right. Oh, this is one common question. I think it really depends. How you brand yourself will determine what kind of people you attract. So, for example, if you show up as a very authoritative, like I'm the expert of this, I know what I'm doing, it appeals to people who are more established, and it appeals to people who are the same style. Like they want someone confident and strong, they know what they do. But what I want to tell you is that like not everyone enjoy that style. I've been thinking a lot about this. Like, do people really buy that confident, authoritative style? And from my own understanding, looking around me, is that a lot of people don't. Like, a lot of people love someone who is like very relatable, very open, very trustworthy, very real. And if you're go if yeah, think about who you're attracting. If you're going after like these people by being real and being vulnerable and open up, you attract those kind of people as well. And if you say like, these are the people I want to work with, then that's a good thing to do. But what I'm saying is that, as an explorer, you don't need to be going too hard on the vulnerability side. Like, for example, you don't need to keep saying like, I suck at this, I'm shit at this. You don't need to do that. But being vulnerable means like, hey, I don't know how to do certain things. I don't know all the answers. For example, like when I wrote my book, I asked the 8 video topics, right? I'm just being open. Like, I don't know what is good for you guys because I'm doing this for you. Please and come and help me. I think this level of vulnerability is like perfect. Like you're not kind of like taking away credits and expertise or professionalism from yourself, but you have this brand of like being open to the community. I think that's the perfect place to be. All right. Is the recording going to be uploaded somewhere? I have no idea. We'll have to ask
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. It will be.
Yeah, Arunima is still here. Great. All right, let's go to the next one. One thing I'm afraid about building in public is that I tend to create big things already. As a perfectionist, I always go deeper in details. It's on the screen. This is so cool. I'm always afraid if I start building in public, people will suggest even more things and I will never finish. How to deal with it? Ooh, I think by asking this question, you already are aware that maybe you need to stop making big things and maybe start building smaller things. I don't know. To me, Lean Startup was a book that influenced me the most, like the MVP kind of minimal viable product. And I really feel it because the bigger the product, the more you need to explain it. And to be honest, like people attention is like crazy. So if you're just building small things and people understand it right away, even just like 2 lines would instantly hit their heart. So um, yeah, I think that's number one. But number two is you touch upon this point where if you build in public, people will suggest more things, right? It's kind of like when you hear from people about insights, about feedback, about different kinds of data. You have to figure out when to listen and when to not listen, because not everything is good. Like if you just listen 100%, you're dead. You won't build a good product because people are going to draw you everywhere. So I think even if you do like focus group surveys, one-on-one chat, you still get a lot of data. So essentially the way I see it is that you get data no matter which way you do if you seriously want to do research, right? So building in public means you just get more data in scale in a faster way, but the step doesn't change that you need to like come back and really figure out who are these people, what's their context, are they my target audience or are they just some randos on the internet? Then you will know like which one you should listen and which one you should not. And maybe you should not listen to all of them at all, but you're like, this one makes a lot of sense. Let me DM this person and get on a call to clarify it, right? So I think it just like enables more possibilities. And yeah, it's about opening that up so that you have more choice. Okay. Debayoti. Can you highlight how to show, involve, and build when you don't have an audience? Ooh, that's a really good question. And let's use my first Build in Public guide as an example. I think a lot of people tend to think that you need an audience first before you can build in public. But actually, if you don't build in public, how would you get an audience? It's the same thing. So I would just change my strategy based on whatever I have right now. For example, if you want to build a pay membership, because that's the only thing I see right now, like Gita, and you want to charge like $500 per year, that's something that I would think is quite hard to build when you don't have an audience because it's paid, it's not cheap, and yeah, I just cannot imagine the path to get there. But when you don't have an audience, what about writing a free guide like Kavan did 4 years ago? A free guide is free. Everyone get it. So everyone would love to see what you are creating for them. And then you're taking a free thing so seriously, it really sets you apart from all the people out there who's just like squeezing your wallet. So as you're building a free thing, you really ultimately you're helping people out by spending so much time doing a free thing, right? So there's no reason for people to not come in and collaborate and help you out and even help you spread it. To me, the reason why my first few projects are all free is because I realized, but I knew it takes time to build trust, and only when you're building free stuff, but high quality free stuff, then you can grow so fast. And that's how you set up your first kind of batch of audience. Yeah, don't instantly jump to building a paid stuff. I think it was just really, really hard. That's what I want to say. And coming up, we have this case study, right? It's someone with an audience. So I think you can compare that to, maybe we can talk a little bit about the difference between his approach and my approach back then 4 years ago. All right. Wow, so many questions. All right, it's more like a chat between Gita and Deba. So that's good. All right. All right. I'm going to read in details about what you guys are talking about. But for now, I think let's keep moving forward because we are like 40 minutes in. All right. So I want to give you like a line to maybe take a screenshot of. It's like building in public. Like what really is building in public? After Kavan sharing all this omakase stuff, I think building in public is using your stories of building, not the finished product, but the process of building to attract and convince people to buy. I like going back to what Josh and Dan said about like building in public is a trap, it's naive. I hope that you guys understand now why they say that. And to be honest, I think they make a lot of sense. They say that because a lot of people are just building in public aimlessly. They don't even know what they want. They just kind of like, oh, I heard this is a good strategy. Let me just like kind of throw things out. It's kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall and hope something might click. No, you need to be a bit more strategic about that. And you need to make this, I like to look at this like a marketing strategy, not just like a brand building strategy, because your motivation will die out if it's just something fluffy. But again, it's about building a personal brand as well. I hope you guys have heard of Ali Abdaal, a super big star. Recently, I helped him build a course And it was a lot of fun. And I think he is an amazing example of someone who's like doing a lot of very practical content about the topic, like laser focus. But once in a while, he would have like this kind of video, which is more like building public, brand building kind of video. And the whole reason is because business follows trust. If you can win people's trust, you're gonna have much easier time selling whatever that is with a shitty sales page because over time you have their trust. And trust is really built between people. So what I can say is not everyone is a good fit for building in public. I have a friend, Ben. I don't know if that's the Ben in the chat, but Ben is a ads person, like Facebook ads. So for some people, not saying about Ben, but it's just how I remember that the ads part. Some people just like to buy ads and like have a sell stuff and make it a transaction. Perfectly fine. If you like being with people, if you like that community feeling, if you like to ask people questions and get a response, then building public is for you because you really want to work with people. And I think that's the best way to build trust. So all in all, yeah, it's a trap if you only throw things out aimlessly. I agree with that. And it's a distraction if you don't even know how to market your stuff. But let's say if you build up your muscle to know how to market your product, building in public is just taking things to the next level. Yeah, because you're tapping into people. So back to SIP, show, involve, and build. All right, who's ready for this case study? 200,000 in 4 days. Of course, that's a bait, right? That's a bait to get your attention. But I really want to kind of walk you through this case study because it's so fun. All right, storytelling time. I hope you're excited. This guy right in front of me and you, his name is Nat Eliasson. He was actually the guy who got me to start writing 4 years ago because he somehow is building in public. Like he's very open. And he wrote this blog post about how to start a blog that changed your life. And I read it and I was like, oh my God, I spent all my career working so hard. No one knows me. But this guy seems to know a thing or two about just like writing and building a brand online. So I followed his advice and started. But lately, last month, he started a new course. So I want to use this as an example. The course is Build Your Own Apps with AI. All right, so I have a bunch of screenshots to see exactly how he executed. And keep in mind, he has an audience at this point because he is kind of a legend on the internet. So if you have questions about how that changes, if you're like someone new, then just feel free to add it in the chat. But anyway, the fundamentals is the same. So this is the last day of 2024, December 31st. And Nat is like, this is not even starting a product. He's just like, oh, I spent some time tinkering around using Cursor to build some tools with AI. And I call this like Podcast Buddy. Oh, I can generate transcript and show notes automatically. And I use these tools. And you can see here, it's just showing, it's not even a product. It's just showing building in public a project, right? But see what happens when you are so unintentional, not transactional, not like about marketing and sales. People tend to pay attention and they're like, hey, this is interesting. I didn't know you can do this, blah, blah, blah. And lots of likes, reposts, replies. So that really started the whole thing. And then, let's say, in 2 days, Harry came in. Wow, I'm blown away by what you're doing with this stuff. Can you like create a cohort so that we can learn all this together? And then Nat is like, oh man, don't pull me back to the course boy land. But a lot of people are asking about it. So being a smart entrepreneur, you cannot ignore hot demand, right? So, but Nat doesn't just jump into building it. He's like, okay, let's validate this a little bit more. So he's like, should I do some kind of mini cohort course on how to build software with AI? And the target is like non-coders. Look at the look at the reaction. It's just like all these non-coders coming out and say, yes, teach us. And this is all by the trust that he has been building over the years. So what I want to say here is the more you build in public, the more projects you build in public, the more trust you have. So the easier it will be for your future projects. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, this building in public thing, it takes a long time. It doesn't give you result right away. Yeah, you got to have like a long-term mindset. If you're like a result seeker and you want something in like 8 weeks, yeah, this might not be for you. Okay, let's keep going. This is still Jan 3rd, so in just like 2-3 days. And then he said something like, oh, Matt, is it Matt? No, Harry. Harry mentioned that I should create a course. I thought about it. I think I have to do it. And then now 60 people enrolled. And he has no course. It's not even built. See? Show, involve, and then build. You don't need to build. And then, of course, I think I'm part of this batch. Like in another 3 days, like more people are signing up to it. And pay attention to what he's doing here. He's actually building this course in public by showing and involving people in the product development phase. He's sharing some early sales to like kind of intrigue people so that more people would be like, what is this? What is this? So many people sign up. I want that too. So they also sign up. And then, of course, you have a sales kind of coupon to create more urgency for people to sign up. That got me to sign up. I actually paid like $400 for this course. So let's keep going with the building public stuff. Like, how do you actually do it? So Nat here, you know, once like 300 people sign up, you have to build the course. And you probably want to do it fast because you don't want to ship it like in 2 months. So he would be like, oh, here's the curriculum. Like, I've been thinking a lot about this. Here's the new curriculum, and just post it there so people can still see it. And then he's like, open it up. Like more people are asking what they can learn, and I'm open to updating the curriculum. Just let me know, just welcoming all kinds of feedback because he doesn't know what to build in the course. This is fun, right? The chat is very quiet. So I assume that you guys are like really paying attention to this story. Okay, and then as the course is being built, of course, it's easy to just share whatever unit or lesson there is. And I think it's really smart that he actually just shared a project link so people can see, oh, wow, within an hour you can build something like this, creating intrigue, using the story to get people to buy. Very smart. And then finally, people start to do the course and people start to post publicly about how amazing this course is. Then a building public strategy would be, hey, I'm going to leverage that. I'm going to quote it just to give it a more juice to the stories, right? It's kind of boring if I am the person who's saying this all the time, but it's fun when Nat is helping me to say it, if Benjamin is helping me to say it, if everyone is saying it and I'm just reposting. So that created momentum. And finally, you can see here, he doesn't even have a sales page. I think he has a checkout page. That's what I signed up for. It was just 3 paragraphs on a checkout page, and I bought it for $400. So that's how much I trust him. But now he has a landing page, and of course he talks about it as well. And then some humble bragging, like passing 600 students, you post about that. That's good. Don't be afraid to humble brag a little bit. It's part of marketing. So I think this is the end of the story. But yeah, again, I want to share a bit more about like this strategy. It works for beginner, like 4 years ago. Kavan, and it works for expert like Nat who has an audience. It's just how you approach it has to be different, like because of your positioning, because of your credibility, because of the yeah your trust level, your brand is not there. Then you need to do the right thing to get people to pay attention to you. So actually, for those of you who are just starting out and you have no audience, I have this like recap of how I did my first project. So I am going to paste it in the chat. So like you can just like see it through how exactly I executed with like nobody around me. What else? And then I also will paste in the other link. I think a lot of you have questions like, what what is a beginner friendly like way to learn this? Well, that's my course, Building Public Mastery. So I'll also paste in the link in case you want to check out. It's just a nice way, a more structured way to learn the SIP framework. And then what else? What you can do today? I think it's a question from one of you guys. I think if you really want to start, don't think so much about like the business or the product, the pay product that you want to create. If you're really early in this, you just want to practice the muscle of showing your work. So find something fun to you and just like build in public that one because it's like less pressure and it's more fun. People are drawn to fun. Let's go back to this slide from see his first post about this whole thing is not about a product, a course. It's not about making money. It's just about I did something fun and I want to share with you guys. I think this is the best way to start. All right. And one tip I can give is that try to set an end date to it. This is why like info products are really a good fit to building in public. It's because there's a done date and there's a launch date. Like people really love having to see the finish line. Like if you're built, like a lot of people would come to me and be like, I want to build in public. I want to build in public for my company. I'm like, that's not interesting. Like, it's just like stories here and there, but I'm not excited to check out your stories. But if you have a deadline and you have something that you're doing and until like end of March, that's more exciting. It's like a movie that I really want to see the ending. Even if I'm not buying, I want to see what's happening, right? If you can report that back, that's really intriguing. And just show your work once a day for 30 days. It really takes time to build up that muscle. I'm not saying this is like a magic thing or it's easy to do. It's not. But yeah, it's about building the muscle. And then once you get familiar with the feeling, like how do you pick the right piece of a piece of content or a specific angle to talk about, you get more familiar with that process and feeling. And then you're also feeling more confident about yourself. Yeah, then you're on track to building more things in public. So, yes. Okay, let me cover this and then I'll look at the chat again. So as I mentioned, the Hype Furry team and I thought about like just doing something fun for you guys. And since I'm talking about building public with the community here, my course is like a perfectly good fit for this if you want to learn more. But Hype Furry, the software, is really amazing for you to, write and schedule the tweets or the post that is going out to your social media account. So we came together and we decided, hey, we can really do a bundle about this. So you can get the course for the lifetime and you can get the software for 3 months, the starter plan. And if you add everything together, that would be this price. But in the next few days, you can get 40% off. And I think might be helpful to some of you. I don't know. So if you're interested, I'll also give you the link. It's like a shortened link, small.is/hype. And you can just get this in the next 3 days. Yeah. And then you have instant access to the course. And then there will be an email telling you that if you want to redeem it on Hypeferry, then you can contact the support team there to get it as well. Yeah. So let's wrap up here. Thanks for having me. I hope this is fun and this is like enjoyable for you guys. We have a couple minutes left, so maybe we can look at the chat and answer some more questions. I have a personal site, I have the small school brand, so if you want to reach out and say hi or continue the conversation, reach out to me as well. But yeah, thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Kyon. Let me help you with the questions. Yeah, so Geeta says, I think one of my issues is that I'm really multi passionate, and so I will never be the stoicism guy like Rand Holiday or the habits guy like James Clear. So, how does having polymathic or generalist tendencies fit into build in public?
Oh yeah, I hear this a lot. I hear this a lot. Funny. You know, I think everyone's kind of struggled with this, and I'll share my answer to that. Being multi-passionate is totally fine. We're all multi-passionate. I think it's just in the framing of personal branding. Some people choose to show everything. Some people choose to show some certain things. And I mean, I really think if you are very intentional, you want to build a brand, very successful business brand, you gotta be known for one thing. That's the easiest way to grow. And this is why, like for James Clear, is like Atomic Habits for Ali Abdaal's productivity. It's not like they just talk about that topic. They usually have like 3 or 4 different things they talk about, but they're really known for that one thing. So if you really want a successful business brand, you gotta just let go a little bit and focus on that one thing more, right? But I think a lot of us creators, we feel the struggle is because, yeah, we really want to share a few more things. So it's a line that you have to kind of decide yourself, like how much do you want to go down a very business path, or how much do you just do this for your expression to connect with like-minded people. I really see two camp of people, like people who just want to do this casually. They tend to be more, okay, I can talk about multiple topics. But the people who start to be more business driven, they understand that they need to be more focused. So it's you deciding how you want to approach this. Yeah, this is very hard.
I think that's really it. So let's just wrap it up. That was an amazing session, Kevon. I learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else did too. As Kevon mentioned, we have an exciting offer for you. You just saw how to build with the community and how your chances of succeeding online grows if you do that. So let's help you with it. Grab the bundle and you can apply Kivon's strategy with Hype Fury right away without taking time away from your actual building your SaaS or product or even with your family. So, thank you so much again, Kivon. Hope you had a great time, everyone, and you have an amazing day ahead. And Hype Fury will be back with more such creator courses. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Say hi too. I would love to meet those of you who are here.